happening to me? Hi and welcome to today's lesson. My name is Rima and today's lesson is very, very interesting. Well, this lesson is all about describing anger. That's right, using various words to describe that one emotion that all of us go through at various points in life, and yes, that is anger. So I have a list of words. All of these words actually, describe different sides, different angles of anger, because anger is one complicated emotion. So I'm going to start with the first one on my list, and this one, yes, it's very simple, bitter. Now, bitter is a taste in our mouth. We've all had bitter things to eat. We've had bitter medicine. So now anger can also be described as bitter. So bitter would actually mean anger which is very, very, very seething and resentful. So somebody who actually harbors really negative feelings for you is somebody who's very bitter about you or about something that happened with you. So I could say something like, when Sally and I had a massive fight, Sally remained bitter for the next 2 years. Wow, that happens between friends, doesn't it? You have one explosive argument and then it's like the relationship's not so same anymore. It's become bitter, it's become angry, and it's so negative. So bitter means anger which has a very, very negative impact and a lasting impact at that. So that's bitter for you. Moving on, I have the word caustic. Now, caustic is another form of anger which can be very, very hurtful. So caustic could also mean being sarcastic. So somebody who, harbors a lot of anger and negativity towards you, and how does that come out? It comes out in the way the person actually addresses you and talks to you. So I could use this in a sentence and say things like, Sally made some caustic remarks about me at dinner, which means A, Sally was angry with me, B, she's been angry for a while, and C, she actually made hurtful comments about me to make sure that I indirectly realize that yes, she is angry with me. So that is the usage of the word caustic, wherein somebody tries to put you down or be very hurtful towards you because they are angry with you. My God, anger can be a dangerous emotion to harbor, right? Well, moving on, I have the word boiling, yes? Now, what does boiling bring to your mind? Boiling water, steaming water, which is really hot. So when somebody's temperature or temper becomes boiling, that means that they are very, very, very angry. So yes, boiling can mean extremely angry. So you could say something like, when I reached office late, my boss was boiling with rage, which means his temper had reached paramount proportions, and God bless me. That's right. So I have 3 words which we've covered so far: bitter, caustic, and boiling. And as you can see, all of these describe various sides of anger, because anger, like I said, is one complicated emotion. Moving on, the next one, yes, aggravated. A long word and a very aggressive one at that. Well, aggravated actually means very violently angry. So which means somebody who is so angry with you that you could probably expect them to pick up the next thing in their hand and throw it at you. Like the person can get violent anytime, and the person could get aggressive, bang doors, throw tantrums. All of that can happen when you aggravate somebody. So you know what? I could use it in a sentence and say, when Sally and I had that crazy fight, she was so aggravated that I thought, yes, I need to run for my life, because there was no saying what Sally would have done to me. So aggravated actually means so aggressively angry that you could expect violence, and yes, that's your cue to actually make an exit. So that's aggravated for you. And moving on, we have cheesed off. Now this cheesed off, now this phrase actually kind of makes me feel very hungry, because I love cheese, all the types of wonderful cheese that are available in the world. But right now, this has something to do with anger. So cheesed off means somebody who's just very angry with you, and angry because of a particular instance. So you could use the word in a sentence like, my behavior really cheesed off my family that evening, which means that instance or that incident actually led to them, getting angry with me in a very instantaneous and fast fashion. I mean, it was a moment that took them to get cheesed off with me. So my family was cheesed off at my behavior. So cheesed off means getting angry quickly. The next one is very, very interesting because it is very similar to cheesed off. Now, cheesed off and ticked off are very, very close in meaning. And yes, you could actually replace one for the other in a sentence, but there is a slight and a very subtle difference, which I'm going to explain to you. So, ticked off. So, ticked off actually reminds you of the ticking of a clock, doesn't it? Yeah? So if I say, Sally is ticked off with me because of my comment. So ticked off is a form of anger which has a reason, and that reason could be one particular type of behavior, a particular comment, or an incident. So you see how close they are in meaning, cheesed off and ticked off. So, I could say something like, when I commented about Sally's overly red hair, she got ticked off. That means it took that one comment to get her temper up, to get her to flare up and get ticked off. So ticked off is very, very close to cheesed off, and one can be replaced with the other, and mostly it means the same thing, getting angry in an instant. Moving on now, this one's quite interesting. Vitriolic. Now, vitriolic means someone who is ready to spew venom. Confused? I'm sure you are. I'm going to explain and make it really simple to understand vitriolic. So, vitriolic actually means someone who is angry with you, angry enough to criticize you. After her breakup, Sally went all vitriolic about her boyfriend, which means she was so angry with him and the way she was treated or the experience that they had with each other that she was ready to criticize him, put him down, speak about him in not such good terms, which means she went all vitriolic on him, which means all the inner anger that she was harboring against him came out in the form of caustic words, angry comments, and not very, very appreciative remarks. So vitriolic could be very tricky, but the usage makes it very, very simple to understand. After her breakup, Sally went all vitriolic about her boyfriend. Well, moving on, we have three more, and these are very, very interesting itself. There is antagonistic, hopping mad, and livid. Now, antagonistic is a very, very loaded term. So antagonistic means someone who is angry enough to become your enemy. So someone who is angry in such a way that he and you have opposing opinions and thinking patterns. So angry with opposite viewpoints. So you could use this in a sentence and say something like, I kept my mouth shut because I did not want to antagonize Sally. That's right, which means I didn't want to get Sally so angry with me that she would actually harbor resentment against me and have like a completely different point, and I could probably lose her friendship. Which means antagonize is an action that you might do and make an enemy out of someone who you could be dealing with work-wise or personally. So make sure that you do not antagonize people with your behavior, your speech, or your actions. So that is antagonistic for you. It's fairly long and loaded, but yes, it has a very, very relevant meaning, and if you use it, you'll come across as somebody who's really in control of their temper and their vocabulary. Moving on, I have hopping mad. Sounds funny now, doesn't it? Well, it has nothing to do with being mad, and it has nothing to do with hopping or skipping or jumping. Hopping mad is somebody who is so angry that they might have to jump up and down just to calm themselves down or just to express their anger. So I could say that hopping mad means jumping up and down with anger. When I was made to wait in the line for 3 whole hours, I was hopping mad, which means I was jumping up and down in the line just to kind of express my anger and let all that angry energy out. Well, that's what hopping mad means. And moving on, I have livid for you. Now, livid is a form of anger wherein you have lost all control of your senses. So, complete loss of control due to anger. So livid is somebody who can slap you at any point, yell at you at any point, or say or do anything to you at any point because they are so angry that they are unable to control themselves. So well, make sure you don't get anybody livid, because that's not safe for you. So I could use livid in a sentence and say something like, when I saw a little boy hit a powerless little puppy, I was livid with rage. Because you know what? I'm not somebody who takes cruelty to animals very, very easily. I just detest it. So well, that's your usage for livid, and I'm going to go over the list one more time. There's bitter, meaning seething and resentful. Caustic, which means sarcastic. Boiling, which means extremely angry. Aggravated, which means violently angry. Cheesed off, which means getting angry very quickly. Ticked off, getting angry in an instant, just in the tick of the clock. Vitriolic, meaning angry enough to criticize the other person. Antagonistic, meaning angry with opposing viewpoints. Hopping mad, someone who's jumping up and down with anger. And livid, which means someone losing complete control due to anger. So well, these are my list of words used to describe anger. Make sure you get them right, and they'll add a lot of value to your vocabulary. And make sure you don't practice any of these, because I don't see them coming off with very great and positive effects. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you have some more words to add to my list, make sure you type in the comment box below. This is me, Rima, saying bye and keep smiling. Don't be angry.